I want to talk about with you first about there was a scene when you feel so alive after you met her.
Yes.
And can you share with us when is the first time you feel so alive in real life?
Ooh, that's such a good question. I mean, I think love does that to you. I think when I first started to really start dating my current partner, I think that's definitely, it just, I don't know, you don't expect it to hit you. It's not even all that different from when you were like a kid and first starting to feel love. So I feel like that's kind of universal no matter what age you are. So yeah, I'd say definitely when I started to really start to date my girlfriend. I think that was
That's fantastic.
That was the last time where I was like, you know, there's a scene in the movie where Nate is like, he's sitting in a chair and he's kicking his legs in the air, and I'm like, that's the feeling. Like
That was not in the script, right?
That was not in the script.
No.
I was just like, this is something I knew. Let's bring it in.
As audience, we felt for you. And the next thing is, when did you two connect? Because it's a very tender, true, loving story between you two. So when did you really make that connection?
We could talk about this forever, I think. We instantly were best friends.
Yes.
We had been hearing about each other for a while via different mutual friends, specifically Dan Trachtenberg, the director of Prey and the director of The Pilot of the Boys, just kind of being like, oh, he was constantly telling me, like, Jack is amazing, I think you need to work with Jack, I think you should meet him.
Yeah, and when she was doing
versa.
Prey, I was like, I'm working with this actress, Amber Mindhunter. You guys would love each other.
Yeah, and so for years we'd kind of been trying to at least meet or work together, and it just never, we kept missing each other, and when this movie came to me, I saw Jack was doing it, I was immediately like, yes, I want to do that. Had not even read the script, my agents were like, you should read the script. And then I did that, signed on, and that was when we met. We met for the first time after we both decided to do the movie, and just got really lucky.
It was great, we got really lucky.
And there are many stunts work in the movie, and the upside down hanging upside. That's you, and for how long you were hanging upside down?
We would have to. I think I went up there one day to test what my limit was before I started to feel a little lightheaded. I think it was about 2.5 minutes or something. I think Dan and Bobby would probably know better than me, but so we had to basically, that whole scene, it's longer than 2 minutes obviously, but we had to keep putting me up and taking me down, like in 2-minute chunks, just so I could like get my lines out, and then I was like, there'd be a moment, sometimes mid-take, where I was like, let me down, and I would, you know, come down, I'd rest, I'd make sure the blood flowed the right way, and then I would go back up. But yeah, that was an intense day.
And quickly, Amber, how's your driving skills?
Good enough to get you through a crazy sequence with a cop and a gamer friend.
Do you need me to drive?
Do you need me to drive? Do you need me to follow an ambulance with an evil guy and a nice guy in it? Because I could do that.
To Ray, well, you scare me a little bit in this movie. Yeah, but you have acted other roles before, so which do you prefer, going to thriller or dramatic comedies?
You know, I really like both. I really think that there's a lot of fun in playing the heel and playing the bad guy. You know, there's a lot of freedom in that. And, you know, it's fun to make that character also likable. I think that that's what makes a good movie, is to find a villain that you can also not root for, but you kind of like that guy.
Okay. And there are many stunts in this movie for you as well, Ray. So how much stunt work did you do in this?
So much. so much. We got there. We got to South Africa 2 weeks early and immediately started working with these Bulgarian stunt coordinators who were so incredibly talented, the Black Rats. 3 hours a day, sometimes twice a day, and then also working out with a world-class kickboxer, Ashley Robinson, in South Africa. So we were working extremely hard to try to make it look as good as possible, but still the stunt people took over for when it was looking completely mediocre. So.
And now for you, Jacob,
yes.
You play a best friend.
Right.
So in real life, what are the qualities to be your best friend?
To be my best friend, I'm pretty low maintenance. I would say just call me sometimes, and then if I ask you for a favor, come immediately.
Like in the movie.
Yes. But other than that, no, it doesn't take a lot to be my friend. I think just be a nice person.
And to both of you, you have worked in franchise movies before, and you haven't. Not yet. And what can you both share with me? What turns you off in a script, and what makes you say yes to the project?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I feel like sometimes when I read something, I like to think that I like something that I can't predict, like this movie. I feel like I really enjoy that about this movie specifically. But I don't know. I think any opportunity that you get is kind of a great thing. So I can't really say. I don't know.
The best thing you can look for is just an active protagonist.
Yeah.
You know, like what makes things compelling to watch is when you have a character that overcomes the obstacles. And it's great when you have villains that are overcoming the obstacles and protagonists that are overcoming their set of circumstances. You know, it's not necessarily fun to watch like victim. You know what I mean? Like you want to see people rise above, and that's why we go to the movies, to feel empowered, to feel like we can rise above.
Absolutely.
Yes, and how did you both come across this idea and to make it a fun movie?
No, I mean, obviously that was in the script that we were sent, and we really just took to the concept because, you know, Nate was such an unlikely action hero, not just because he, you know, suffers from a disability, but because he is a regular guy who doesn't really know how to fight, and you don't really see that in action movies. You know, most of the time your protagonist is some kind of, you know, super assassin or was in the CIA or something like that. And so this idea of a guy who, you know, was going to be losing every fight that he was taking place in until the very end, that was sort of the special sauce that drew us to the project.
But yeah, so CIP is certainly a serious matter, and we were trying to be as sensitive as we could about, you know, portraying in that first act a character who, you know, has a very unique life that he has to live, and the fact that that condition is very debilitating and creates a pretty sort of isolated situation for Nate.
The average person would think that maybe that's cool to not feel pain, but it's not. It's quite debilitating, and you know, you have to, you know, if you cut your foot, you could lose a pint of blood and never know it, you know. And so I think, you know, I think in the trailer it seems like maybe it's just this like fun thing for him, but I think when you see the movie, you understand how difficult it is to have this condition in this isolated place that he starts out the film in, and yet that really helps thrust the narrative along because he is in this isolated world, and so when he does meet Sherry, it changes his life instantly. And if you didn't have that kind of contrast, I don't know that you'd ever buy him putting his life on the line to save somebody that he, you know, really only went on one date with.
Okay, this movie is also a love story and a buddy movie.
Yeah.
And you both have been working together for 10 years.
Yes.
So can you share some of your...
Share our own love story?
Yeah, your romance?
Yes, of course. Bobby and I were randomly assigned roommates our freshman year at university at NYU, which we're very, very fortunate and very grateful to the NYU bursar's office and whatever algorithm they use to place us. But yeah, we became best friends just hanging out as college roommates often do, and spent, you know, years together just kind of getting closer and closer, and our tastes kind of melding closer and closer before we ever started, you know, writing scripts or directing movies together. And so we're always, you know, very, very thankful that we have that foundation below our professional collaboration, that, you know, we can get into little creative disagreements and always find the best version of an idea and not worry about eroding the bedrock of our friendship.
請訂閱我哋嘅 YouTube 頻道，記得撳埋個鐘仔啊！